All right, now we are talking reverse dieting. This was, at least for me in my journey, the most complicated, confusing topic. And so what we're going to dig into it today is we're going to break it down. We'll talk what is reverse dieting, why do you do it, when do you do it, how do you do it, what to expect in a reverse diet, and then eventually in another video, we will go through actual case studies, okay? And so if your goal is, and I'll make my face small, if your goal is to gain muscle, lose fat, body recomposition, Kels, I want to see more definition in the mirror. I want to see the progress that I'm putting in. This is for you. If your goal is to get toned, right? That's what the word that I used to say all the time back in the days. Like, I just want to look toned, right? I want to look like I actually work out. See your hard work in the mirror. This is for you. If you want to lose fat or lean out in certain areas, if you want to gain muscle, get stronger, if you want to keep your results. Basically, if you want to make progress, reverse dieting is for you, okay? And the top 3 mistakes, you might have heard me talk about this quite frequently in other modules, so I won't go so much into the weeds. But top 3 mistakes that women make is, number 1, they try to lose fat their way to toned. We are hyper-focused in our culture on fat. 5 ways to lose fat. Lose 10 pounds here, lose X things here, and that's not bad, right? But we forget about the biggest thing that actually helps you in results, and that's your muscle. That is actually a huge regulator to your metabolism, is one of your most metabolically active tissues, is the most metabolically active tissue in your body. Helps with longevity, what you want to see in the mirror, all the things, right? And so you cannot cardio yourselves, 1,200 or below calorie yourselves to results, okay? It will leave you frustrated, exhausted, lack of energy, and feeling like you can never get there. And that is not true for you. You can, but we have to work smart. So that's number 1. Second mistake here is there is no exit strategy post fat loss phase or diet. Beautiful, all these marketing tactics say, hey, lose 10 pounds with this, whatever they have, but how do you actually sustain that, right? How do you actually get to those results and then keep those results long term? This is what reverse dieting is. And then last but not least is they cardio themselves to no progress. They think, oh, well, I just need to lose more weight or lose more fat, so let me just burn more calories, which, like I said, we're a huge component of, yes, working hard. You will always hear me preach about working hard. We cannot just sit on our butt, pretend like we're going to make results, but we also have to work smart, okay? And so cue reverse dieting. And so what reverse dieting is it slowly increases your intake strategically over time to work up to your maintenance calories, or at least 80% of your maintenance range. What your maintenance range is, refer back to how to set your macros in the few modules of, we want to see the intake, the caloric intake that your body can be at, where it quote unquote shouldn't lose or gain weight. How much fuel your body needs to operate without losing or gaining weight. Okay, the reason for this is this allows for reverse dieting body recomposition. It allows you to gain muscle and lose fat. Both of these individuals, I'll tell the story about this other one, but this individual up here, she's eating about, I want to say 500 to 600 more calories if I'm remembering correctly. And obviously she has gained a good amount of muscle and lost fat. Beautiful, right? If they want to build muscle, if you want to increase your metabolism, hormones or overall health after a fat loss phase or a deficit, reverse dieting is for you. Okay, I'm going to actually make my face big and explain it with hands. And you might have seen this already. So say somebody comes in, okay, and their body's maintenance, the intake at which their body needs to not gain muscle or gain or lose weight, but just stay at a maintenance, is 2,200, okay? But say they come in and they're eating 1,300 and they're not losing weight, they're frustrated, they're like, I feel like I'm doing the right things, but I'm not seeing the results, okay? And so it's here. What many times women think is they think, well, I must just be eating too much. Now let me eat 1,100. Or I must just be eating too much. Let me eat 1,000, right? Because a lot of times fitness culture says, well, you're just overeating. So what actually happens is when we're eating 1,300, but we need 2,200 for your body to be fueled well, what happens with your metabolism, what happens with your hormones is it starts to down-regulate to meet with where your intake is at. And so this is why the women eating 1,300, 1,200 are like, Kelsey, I'm not hungry, right? I could eat not until 12 o'clock p.m. and then I'm really not hungry throughout the day, is because their metabolism, their metabolic activity actually down regulates. Why? It's because their body cannot function at such a high standard the way that it wants to function when it's not getting fueled enough. It will slowly slow down to meet you with where your intake is at. Okay, so this is why if you then drop it down to 1100, what happens? Metabolism slows down, hormones downregulate, and I hate to break it to you, you will not win against your physiology any day. All right, your physiology, your body will win 10 times out of 10. And so what is hard to wrap sometimes our brain around, this was hard for me, is you're telling me I want to lose weight or I want to lean out, but I need to eat more. Like, what is that? How does that make sense? At least that was going on in my brain. Okay. The reason that that makes sense and the reason that we produce these results, hence through reverse dieting, is when we slowly and strategically, listen, I did not say jack you up to 2200 from the week one. Okay. When we slowly and strategically bring you up to 1500, what happens to your body? Your body's like, oh, she's actually fueling me enough so I can start to upregulate. My metabolism can start to rev up again and actually work the way that it wants to. And then you're like, wait, Kels, I'm actually like getting hungry now. Like, whoa, that's different for me. Okay. Then we slowly and strategically bring you up to 1700. Body's like, oh, okay, I like this now, right? I can put more muscle on. Ooh, I really like that I can really rev my metabolism up. And what ends up happening is you're eating more, and either one of two things. Your weight is staying the same because you're gaining muscle and losing fat. Go to the weight versus fat loss module if you have no idea what I mean by that, okay? Or secondly, you're actually leaning out because your body doesn't now have a need to hold on to all the extra body fat, okay? Or thirdly, yes, you can gain some body fat in this reverse diet. Totally normal. As you're gaining muscle, you potentially could be gaining fat. It's normal, okay? You're human, all right? But the reason why some individuals actually lean out in a reverse diet is because especially if you have a long history of dieting, a lot of times our body will hold on to the excess fat as energy stores, right? This is the stuff that your body can use for energy if it's not getting fueled through food. And so remember, your body doesn't know that it's 2023 if this is when you're watching the video. It thinks it needs to run away from a tiger. And so it holds on to the extra because I don't trust that you're actually going to fuel me enough that I'm going to have enough energy to run away from a tiger if I need to. So I'm going to hold on to it all, right? I'm going to hold on to this excess fat because I might need to tap into it later, all right? This is why when women eat 1,200, 1,100, 1,000 and don't make progress, this is why, okay? Their body is holding on to more because it does not trust that you're actually going to fuel it enough. Listen to me very deeply, all right? The female body, the name of the game is, does your body feel safe enough to be able to lose fat? Does your body feel safe enough to be able to lose fat, to actually upregulate your metabolism, to actually work hormonally how you want it to do? And so this is why reverse dieting for women that have had previous dieting histories or eating low without even realizing it, or after a fat loss phase, insanely important to slowly and strategically get to the intake that your body needs and should be at for a longer term duration. Okay, so like I said, the goals here is body recomp, okay, increase metabolism, decrease any metabolic stress, restore and improve hormonal function, a great exit strategy post-fat loss phase to keep your results, increase strength and performance, and build muscle. All right, before I go into this next one, I like to show this one right here. And this was a client of mine a few years ago. And she is the exact same body weight. The scale said this number on this day and the exact same number on this day. But obviously her body made progress. Okay. This kind of contradicts everything that mainstream fitness wants to say. Is like she's the same exact body weight, but through body recomposition, she's gained muscle and lost fat. Now look at that. That's progress, baby. Okay. All of these individuals have been through a reverse diet. Almost all of our clients have been through a reverse diet, whether it be when they first come in or after a fat loss phase. All right. And so the why, there are many reasons why you would reverse diet and why we utilize it with our clients so heavily. Okay. This is needed. If you are not at your maintenance intake or close to it, this is needed before you enter a cutting or fat loss phase to maximize your progress. Like I shared in the last few minutes about the hands and down regulating your metabolism, if you come in and you're eating 1300 and you want to lose fat or lose weight or lean out, and I just drop you to 1100, what's going to happen to your body? Your body's metabolism is going to slow down even more. That's not what we want. We want your metabolism to work and operate at the highest state that it can to work with your body. Okay, so if I drop you to 1100, metabolism slows down. Hormones, thyroid, all the things that we need to make progress actually downregulate with it too, or in some negative way. And so this is why we need to, and it's hard when you first come in, because it goes against everything what the fitness world tells you just to lose weight, which is not correct, is we need to slowly and strategically increase your intake to get your body at a spot where we can go into a fat loss phase in the future, okay? So there's two main reasons why we would do this and when we would do this, okay? Number one is metabolic adaptation at a low intake. What I said before about your metabolism down regulates to meet with what your intake is at. This is why a lot of women, when they come in, they're eating very minimal, or they don't eat till 12 o'clock, or they have these huge long gaps between meals, and they're like, Kelsey, I'm not hungry. Like, I'm just really not hungry. It's not that your body doesn't need that food. It's the fact that your metabolism has slowed down, and so it's not regulated or working at its highest state, okay? And so because it metabolically adapts at your lower intake, just like it would metabolically adapt at a higher intake, everything slows down, okay? Your body does not trust that you'll fuel it enough, so it will hold on to the extra body fat. Like I said, I explained this in the last 5 minutes in the previous slide here. If you did not listen to that, go back, listen to it, because that is such an important concept, okay? And we would also use this not just if you come in with a low intake, but we also use that to sustain your progress and results, okay? Like I said, you should not be in a fat loss phase forever, okay? Or even a year, or even 8 months, sorry. You should not be in a fat loss phase for a long period of time. So what we need to do is, yes, we can take you through that fat loss phase, but we want to sustain your progress. We don't just want to rebound. So what happens with too many women, there's actually data on this, is they make progress, they lose 20 pounds, whatever that goal is for them, and they have no exit strategy, so then they just gain all the weight back. If that's you, there's no shame, there's no judgment. That happened to me many times, but it's because you didn't have the right system or strategy to sustain that, okay? So then we do this to sustain your progress and then progress to that next phase, which most likely will be that building phase. So we utilize this to increase your metabolism, to get your body to a spot where we can go into a cutting phase in the future, and so you can actually see results. Nobody wants to cut and not see results. Not fun, okay? And to get your body to sustain those results long term, all right? When would you do this? You will reverse diet in different phases of your journey. I have done this so many times, but like I said, this is needed. If you want to max out your progress in a fat loss phase, this is a non-negotiable, especially if you come in with not eating enough. So this could be utilized, and we will utilize it after a fat loss phase. After, let's take me for example. I did a bodybuilding show. So you're damn right I go into a fat loss phase because you're literally judged on your body, okay? Take it or leave it for what it is, but it is what it is. So you go, and I go into a really big fat loss phase. If I stayed at that intake long term, my body would hormonally not be in a good spot, and I would really rebound all that weight back on, okay? So what did I do after that bodybuilding season? My fat loss phase. I had to slowly and strategically reverse diet, so my body just didn't go boom 180 and put on all the weight that I lost. Strategy. Okay. Secondly, after realizing you're under fueling for a long period of time, or you have a chronic dieting history, if you've come in, you've done keto, you've done paleo, you've done all these different things that pull out a lot of different foods from your body, and your intake's pretty low, say you need 2,200, you're eating 15, 14, 1,300 pretty consistently, this is where we would utilize this strategy. Like I said, if you're eating way under your calorie maintenance range, like I said in the how to set macros video, we look at what your maintenance is versus what your average intake is. If your maintenance is 22 and you realize like, oh man, I've been eating 1600 and I'm like not seeing any progress, all right, this is when you would use reverse dieting, okay? Let's get your intake back up. Let's get your strength. Let's get your muscle back up. So then when we go into a fat loss phase, like your body is burning and you see progress, okay? Fat loss phase prep, okay? You would do this before, potentially, we want to go into a building phase ideally, but you would do this before cutting your fat loss phase to prep your body up for success. And then this would also be if you have a performance goal or a strength goal. If you're like, Kelsey, I want to get strong, all right? Yes, ideally we take you to a building phase, but this would be from where you're at to where we want to be long-term, all right? So you would utilize this in many different areas. Most often it's after a fat loss phase, number 1, and number 2, if you realize you've been under eating, we want to take you through here. Even if your goal is to lose fat, lose weight, we want to take you through this to get the most progress when we do go through a cutting phase, okay? Your body needs prepped up to make progress, right? It's a non-negotiable. So this is insanely important for your body to get to a spot, and for us as a coaching team, you and I together, or you and your coach together, to get your body at an intake where I can actually make progress. If I bring you in here, if you come in here, I can't make any much progress here. I'm actually probably hurting you than helping you. And so we need to slowly and strategically get you to where your intake is at, okay? So I have more wiggle room, or your coach has more wiggle room to be able to make progress, okay? How do we do this? All right, you got the what, the why, the how. How do we do this? Your coach will strategically increase your intake and potentially decrease your cardio in this time frame, okay? I know it sounds like the complete opposite of what you might be expecting if you come in wanting to lose fat or tone up or lean out. This was me, all right? I hired a coach, actually a good chunk of time ago. Hired a coach, had no clue about nutrition. I thought I just should not eat carbs, or man, I must be eating too much because I need to lose 20 pounds. And so that's what I did, right? And I hired him, and he's like, okay, I want your carbs up to 220 grams. And I think mine was like 120 by then. And I was like, are you out of your mind? Like, you're telling me I want to lose fat and weight, but you're bringing me up here. Like, what are you talking about? And it was really hard for me to understand it because I love him to death. He didn't teach me much of this, but I didn't understand how that correlated to my goals, right? I had no clue. You're telling me to eat way more food, but my goal is to lean out. It was like contradictory to me. And so I hope that this will shed a lot of light for you when we're asking you to do that, and you understand that, hey, I've been there, but also this is what's going to help me get to my goals. And so in this time frame, your coach or you will slowly and strategically, all right, increase your intake and potentially decrease your cardio. We want to take as much stress off the body as we can while we're working up to your maintenance range. Also, the reason that this preps you up for the fat loss phase, okay, if you're doing lack of a better way to say it, shit ton of cardio, okay, and you're at your maintenance with doing a ton of cardio, we do not have this variable to use when we go to a fat loss phase, okay? Your body adapts at which your intake is at and your output is at, your cardio is at. And so the reason we want to pull your intake up and your cardio down is because we want, when we go into a fat loss phase, I want as much variables, as much progress that I can utilize when we take you through it. So I want to be able to add a little bit of cardio in as we go to a fat loss phase without you having to come in with so much, and then all we have to do is go higher than that, which is usually not great for the body. So we want to strategically increase intake, decrease your cardio. As you take some stress off the body, your body's actually going to be able to build muscle and lean out a lot better. I know it sounds contradictory. It is amazing what you can do. Actually, both of these humans went through a reverse diet, and they're like, Kels, like, I'm actually seeing my abs now, and I'm seeing muscle definition. And they're like, you're telling me I'm doing way less cardio and way more. Actually, let me share this too. I had a client, she just posted this. Okay, you might not be able to see it. She just reposted this with me. All right, she is a hard worker. She is one of the top in her company. She is a worker. And she says this, had a picture on the left. She goes, the one on the left is from 2020. My workout routine was high intensity workouts 5 times a week for an hour, miles and miles and miles of running, eating no carbs and all vegetables, and weighing 160 pounds, and I was miserable. Okay. And her picture on the left, there is so much more definition. Her waist is tinier, her butt is bigger, like it looks great. All right. But she said the one on the right is yesterday. I do 2 hours of cardio a week. Okay. 10 minutes of high intensity a week. So 3 sessions, like 3 kind of sessions a week. Lift heavy weights 5 times a week. I eat clean, but plenty of carbs and plenty of my favorite foods, and never have to restrict that much. Be real, I'm still intentional. And I'm at 165 pounds. Most importantly, I'm happy. Okay. And she looks like 2 different humans. All right. She came in, I remember this. I was her coach for a good chunk. She came in eating 1,300 calories. She's now up to 2,000 plus, and her body looks completely different in the most best way possible. So this is like, I'm not just saying it. There are people, honestly, almost every human has been through this. All right. So how do we do this? We adjust your carbs and fat slightly, and we keep your protein the same, pending your protein's at what we want it to be. If it's 120 plus, ideally it's what we want it to be. Okay. We adjust your carbs and fat, keep your protein the same. I will never decrease your protein. Okay. We also will adjust your cardio slightly. If you end a fat loss phase and you're at 5 sessions of, let's say 3 sessions of 30-minute steady state. None of this makes sense to you. It's okay. Go to the strength training module. Let's say you're at 3 sessions of a 30-minute steady state, 2 sessions of an 8-minute HIIT. In your first reverse diet, I'd probably pull you down to 3 sessions of a 15-minute steady state and 1 session of a 6-minute HIIT. Like I said, I'm not taking it all away, but I'm slowly and strategically decreasing the metabolic stress on your body and increasing your intake. Okay. The goal weight for this on the scale is no more than plus 0.5 to 1 pound per week. And so if we're gaining more than that, that means we might have jumped too quickly and too much too quickly. All right. But you should gain, and I'm going to tell you this, some people stay the same weight, beautiful. But if you gain weight on this, that's okay. You should be gaining muscle. All right. You should be gaining muscle. And so if you're like, Coast, I started at 150, okay, but now I'm up to 153, 155, but my pictures look pretty the same. That's beautiful. We want to gain muscle. You will lose fat, especially as we go into a fat loss phase. That is okay. If it is more than that, we want to slow down a little bit. And if you're staying the same weight, that's okay. What we don't want to do is we don't want to lose weight in this reverse diet. And so if your body weight is decreasing, that is not a good thing. We do not want that. All right. And then every 2 to 4 weeks, we will adjust your intake 150 to 300 calories until we get to your maintenance range. And so say, for example, you come in, like I said, we try to get to your ideal maintenance is 200 or 2,200 calories, right? 2,200 calories. You are at 1,300. We'll slowly pull you up to 1,500, slowly pull you up to 17, slowly pull up to 2,000. We might stay there or finally pull you up to 2,200. Like I said, we will do this with carbs and fat. We're going to keep your protein at a good amount. And then the time frame for this is 6 weeks to 6+ months, to be honest with you. I want to see no less than 6 weeks because we need to strategically increase it. But you can go all the way up to 6 months. I know my reverse diet was about 4 months because we had to be very strategic with it. And that's okay. All right, training. We got training and then we have mindset during this. So training during this is where it gets fun, okay? Push the weights. You are fueling your body more. What does that mean? You are going to get stronger. And so you might have been doing 20s for chest press. Go to 25s, push to 30s. Now is the time where you have more food in your body. Utilize that. Like, put this food to work, okay? So this is where you want to increase your strength and muscle. Like, we want more muscle on your body. You will not, I repeat, you will not hulk up and like walk in the door like a man. I promise you. If you want to do that, all the power to you, but you will not do that. You're actually going to get a leaner frame. Actually, I explained to a client this past week about it. I said, hey, when you have more muscle on your body, this is why, let's take me, for example. This is by no means bragging. But let's take me, right? I started in with very little muscle. I have built up muscle at a body weight where I'm like, there's no way I would stay lean, okay? I took a video of me doing face pulls the other week and I was like, damn, like I look pretty good. Like my back muscles are popping, right? It has nothing to do with me being into a cutting phase, right? I'm not. It has nothing to do with me trying to lose weight. I'm literally not. I'm staying at a body weight that I actually first started my fitness journey at. It has everything to do with I have more muscle on my body. I have less fat on my body because body recomposition, because I've worked to build more muscle. And so that's why I can stay leaner at a higher body weight. Okay, so we want muscle. We need muscle. It's actually what you're going to utilize. Okay, so when we're training during this, challenge and push your body. Push your body. This is when we go to work. All right, cardio will be minimal to zero. So make sure that you're at the most progress that you can be at when we go to a cutting phase. So push weights, push weights, push weights, push weights. Challenge your heart here. All right. And then mindset, this is one of the most challenging things with a reverse diet is what goes on in your noggin. So like I said, I shared my story that this is where it can be a little bit challenging because it goes against what is ingrained to us as progress. We think, ooh, progress is a lower number on the scale. Ooh, progress is continually leaning out until you cannot lean out anymore. Progress during this is your body weight staying the same and you eating 600, 300, 200 plus more calories. Progress during this is you gaining muscle. Progress during this is you pushing heavier weights. Progress during this is you getting your mindset and you to eat more food to set you up later. Okay, look at it right here. I love this picture because it's so true. Both of these are 5 pounds, right? Exact same, 5 pounds of muscle or 5 pounds. All right, this is 5 pounds of fat. Look at the volume, so much more volume versus 5 pounds of muscle. And so you might be losing fat and gaining muscle, but the weight stay the exact same. How will you notice this? You will notice this how you look in the mirror. You will notice this in progress pictures. You will notice this in your clothes, okay? So this is where your weight might stay the same or your weight might actually go up. Like I said, that is okay. The reason being is you should be gaining muscle during this. Like I just said, you should be training hard, intentional, pushing your weights. So we want to gain muscle, all right? This is body recomposition. It might stay the same on the scale, but your composition looks different, all right? Others, you're doing this after a fat loss phase. This was me. Once again, remember, I was bikini bodybuilding. You were literally judged on how lean your body got and how many muscles that could pop out. Not like massive, but like actually feminine, pretty lean. And so this was one of the hardest things for me is I saw my body at such a lean state, right? And I was excited to see it there. And then I didn't see it there, right? Then I slowly start to lose that definition because I know that I need to increase my intake. I cannot stay there forever, nor should I stay there forever. But it was hard to see my body go from what it was to, yes, gaining muscle, but also losing that more defined lean look. Okay, I get it. I have been there. This is hard, but this is just as much growth for you mentally and physically as is leaning out. Okay, your body cannot and should be this lean state forever and ever and ever. We need to fuel your body more. And so I'm going to really encourage you to switch your mentality. Look to see what your body can do versus just what it looks like. If you're like, okay, I don't know if I can get 30 pounds on bench press, try 30 pounds and then try 35 pounds. Show yourself what your body is capable of. Push your limits. Switch your mindset from just looking at your body of what it can look like to see your body for what it can do. It is so insanely important here, okay? Keep your mentality strong and then lean into that badass version of you. I cannot say that enough, all right? And so what to expect. It's very important to get our expectations right, okay? And the reason why this is important is because, for example, if we had wrong expectations, okay, I'm going to go to a reverse diet and I should lose 20 pounds. You could have the most beautiful reverse diet, but if my expectation is to lose 20 pounds in this reverse diet, I will feel like I'm failing every single time, and you're not, okay? So what should we expect in a reverse diet? Number one, expect your strength and muscle to increase. You should go to the gym and be like, oh, I see my numbers going up. I see my strength going up. I feel myself getting stronger. Love it. There's more food in your body. You're pushing training. That's exactly where we want to be. Number 2, body recomposition. So you might have the same number on the scale, or it might increase a little bit. That is okay. But we want to really focus on gaining muscle, gaining muscle, gaining muscle, and your body composition might look different, meaning that you're like, oh, I see some definition, not because I'm leaning out or going into a cutting specifically, but because I'm gaining more muscle and I'm losing fat. That body composition may and will look different for you. I have more energy. Because I'm not getting tired at 2 p.m. Love it. All right. My mood, my sleep, my digestion is better. These are the things that we don't understand is progress. That is progress. Okay. Maybe it's slight weight and slight fat gain. Let me tell you very vividly. If we know that your goal is to lose fat and we put you into a reverse diet, we are fully aware that the scale may go up slightly and that you might gain slight more fat. You might. Okay. For some humans, they don't. Some humans, they actually lean out and they see different. But some humans, for me, when I was in my bodybuilding, okay, I was at my cutting zone, I did reverse diet and I did gain fat. Why? Because when we gain muscle, we can't just gain muscle 100% of it. We need fat to be gained with it. That is normal. That is okay. We will address that into a cutting phase. And you're eating more and your body weight staying the same. Progress is you go from 1,200 to 1,800 calories. Your body weight is the exact same. That is absurd progress, okay? What you should not focus on right here is decreasing too much in weight on the scale. So if your weight goes from 150 to 145 to 140, that is not correct. We do not want that. And we do not want you to be hungry in this phase, all right? So what should you focus on? Focus on crushing your weights at the gym. Crush your weights at the gym. Walk in like the badass that you are, pick up the heavy weights that you are, and go do the thing, all right? Secondly, consistency and hitting macros. Yes, you might be seeing results that you want to see, or you might be like, oh, my body's going in the other direction. Kelsey bodybuilding season right here. She can't stay this lean the whole time, right? She had to gain more body fat and muscle on her body. Does that mean that I should not be consistent? Hell no. That means I need to focus on consistency and hitting macros. Why? Because it's a reverse diet, it hinges on me being consistent to see where I will take my intake after that. Okay. If you are not consistent, you cannot expect your coach to progress you. I will be very honest with you. If you are not consistent, I did not say perfect, okay? But if you are not pretty damn consistent, you cannot expect your coach to progress you because it will not affect your body. And then number 3 here, I know it's hard, but trust the process. Trust the process, trust the process, trust the process. This was the hardest thing for me. It has paid off tenfold. Hence why I own a company for this, all right? Because it has paid off tenfold. And so the next phase, you might go into a building phase, whether we maintain, right, your intake or we put you into a surplus. You will probably go into a building phase after this or cutting phase if it's appropriate. So next video, we will go through adjustments and then we're going to go through case studies. So go ahead, scroll back to this video. If you have any questions about reverse dieting, please let us know. There are more team calls below that I did on reverse dieting, and let's go.